You're listening to the Angry Marks Podcast Network.
Good afternoon, good morning, good evening. My name is Arya Whitner. I am back, but I'm back with your rundown of the 2018 Mae Young Classic, Episode 1, Round 1, first 4 matches, right here tonight. The show this week opened with a recap of last year's tournament, which segged into a video of the competitors in this year's tournament. You had Michael Cole, Beth Phoenix, and Renee Young on the commentary team, and the show opened up, the tournament opened up with Tegan Knox going 1-1 with Zatara. In her pre-match video package, the masked Zatara said she was the first Chilean wrestler in WWE history. And in my little bit of research, I cannot tell you if she's telling the truth or not, so we'll just assume she's telling the truth. Tegan's video had plenty of footage from Progress, and apparently she was supposed to be in last year's Mae Young Classic. However, she got a knee injury a couple weeks before the tournament was taped, and so she didn't appear, but she's here this year, so hooray, right? So Tegan was the crowd favorite as the ladies exchanged holds early. Knox got the best of her until Zatara reached out for a handshake. Knox, like a good babyface, reached her hand out to shake the hand of Zatara, but Zatara stabbed her in the back, kicked her in the gut, and took over here. Zatara worked on that previously injured knee. Knox then tried to shake it off during her comeback, the highlight of which was a diving crossbody off the top rope. Knox kicked out after running double knees in the corner and picked up the win with the Shining Wizard. A good solid match to kick off the tournament, and she'll face the winner of the Isla Dawn Nicole Matthews match. Ember Moon and Alexa Bliss were shown applauding in the audience. Former Impact Wrestling woman MJ Jenkins was out next to take on last year's competitor, Rhea Ripley. Rhea said that she'd made a fool out of herself last year, but this is the darker version of her. Ripley refused the pre-match handshake, and it was on. MJ was moving and grooving until she went to the apron. She went to jump back into the ring with some big move, but Rhea drop-kicked her and sent her crashing and burning onto the mats outside the ring. Rhea dominated MJ, who did a great job selling. Ripley used the abdominal stretch, and like we all probably did to our little brothers, we put that elbow right in the ribs during the abdominal stretch too, to really, really work the ribs there. And you can ask my brother how that feels like if you like. MJ screamed to the heavens as she began her comeback. She hit a high kick, and this time she connected with a springboard drop kick for a 2 count. MJ seemed primed for another big move, but Rhea ducked out of the way, hit a pump handle powerbomb, and picked up the win. She will now face the winner of the Casey Catanzaro-Rhea Gonzalez match. Then it was Vanessa Craven 1-on-1 with Lacey Lane. Leo Rush was shown at ringside before the match. Lacey is the hometown favorite from right there in Winter Park, Florida, and she's been wrestling for 2 years. Vanessa, however, is 6 feet tall, is a 14-year veteran from Montreal, and has competed all over Canada, Japan, and the United States. I'll tell you what, Lacey may be a foot or so shorter, but she can get her foot high as she kicked Craven right in the head. She went for a springboard arm drag, but it looked pretty ugly here, and in fact the referee had to check on Lacey to make sure that she was okay. But it still did the trick as Craven took the bump, rolled to the outside of the ring. Lane followed her to the outside, but that was for the worse, as Craven caught her and hung her up upside down from the top rope. Craven stalked Lane around the ring inside using chops and the Bruno Sammartino over-the-shoulder backbreaker. Lane tried to fight back, She did kick out after a Black Hole Slam, which got the crowd chanting for her. Craven missed the cannonball splash that she hit earlier and was the victim of our first upset as Lane got on her to her shoulders, pulled her back into a crucifix pin for the win, and Lacey Lane picks up the win. Craven can't believe it. The Full Sail crowd can't believe it. But it's true, and she'll now face the winner of the Taynara Conti match when she takes on Jessie Alaban. Shadia, who's the backstage announcer, I can't even begin to try to pronounce her last name. It's a Bseiso. I'm sure once I hear it more than once in passing, I'll figure it out. But anyway, she interviewed Natalya, who was really happy to be here, and said she was rooting for both Mia Yim and Io Shirai to win. Final first-round match of the night, main event time. It was the veteran Meiko Satomura versus Killer Kelly. Now, I mentioned she's a veteran. Do you want to know how long Meiko Satomura has been wrestling? In 1996 and 1997, she lost matches on WCW television, including to Toshi Uematsu on an episode of Nitro. Killer Kelly has been wrestling for 2 years. By the way, she's already been in NXT UK, Rev Pro, Pro Wrestling Eve, and WXW. And she was 5 years old when Satomura was losing matches on Nitro. Just to give you a heads up on the age and experience disparity in our main event match tonight, Funaki and Ty Dillinger were showed at ringside for this match. Meiko used her superior speed, but once Satomura got her hands on her, she was twisted like a pretzel. Meiko locked on a single leg crab that turned into the best looking STF you've seen on WWE TV in about 13 years or so. Kelly was used as a kick pad as Satomura kicked her in every exposed inch of body that she had. Kelly came back with a suplex and went for a pump kick, but Satomura used an uppercut. Satomura at one point used a handspring into a double knee drop on Kelly, which just looked brutal. Kelly actually got the nearest of near falls with a perfect plex, which inspired a "This is awesome" chant. Finally, Satomura was tired of the games and hit a nice-looking Death Valley driver for the pin, for the win. She advances to the second round and will face the winner of the Ashley Rain Mercedes Martinez match later on in the first round. So that does it for night one of the Mae Young Classic. You know, it's one of those things that if you skipped it, I'm sure this will be the case for most of the first round. If you skip the first round, you probably aren't missing anything of note. But it was a fun hour of wrestling. You're not going to disappoint yourself if you go back and watch it. Enjoy it, and I'll talk to you again in 7 days.
You're listening to the Angry Marks Podcast Network.